welcome. Hey me amores, welcome back to my channel. It's Sanaa here and we're back with another video. I know it's been a long time since I sat in front of the camera, but I had a lot of opinions about this show and I was just like, instead of saying them to my sister because she's very behind in the episodes, why not just get on the train while it's still here and say them to you guys? So we're going to be talking about today is the ultimatum queer love. So first I want to talk about a little bit like what the ultimatum is, just in case nobody knows what it is or seen the first one. So basically what the ultimatum premise is two people come on, they're a couple, one wants to get married, one doesn't, and one is the issuing an ultimatum like, okay, we're gonna come on this show, you're gonna propose, and if you don't, I'm out. And y'all probably know ultimatums aren't the best way to, negotiate what you want, so it usually doesn't work. And basically they come on the show and they date other people for 3 weeks, and then they come back and they have to either pick the original partner, pick the new partner, or leave single. And you can guess what happens a lot of the time. So first there was the ultimatum marry or move on, and this time we're doing the ultimatum queer love, which is basically the same premise, kind of. It's actually kind of a lot different, but it's with lesbian couples this time, so that's pretty cool. And the ultimatum marry or move on was filmed in spring of 2021, and the ultimatum queer love was filmed in fall of 2021. And it's so crazy because the two shows are just so different from one another. Like in the ultimatum marry or move on, it was kind of like, okay, we're coming here, we're going to learn from the other person, that brings out like, the good qualities in us, and we look at the good qualities in them, and then we bring that back to our old partner. At queer love, the girlies are like, okay, we about to get turned, we about to get crunk, I'm single, I'm about to do whatever I want, you my new girlfriend, like, I don't know who my ex is, I don't know her. And they just act like they're fully broken up, and they're like, yeah, I'm falling in love with you, like I can see myself with you, like, yeah, we only known each other for a week and I've known them for years, but I'm trying to propose to you. And so the premise is just like so different. And I don't necessarily know which one's right or which one's wrong, because honestly on both of them the couples, spoiler alert, aren't looking so hot. For some reason they picked a straight host to host this season, and I'm telling you, the producers told one of the contestants to ask straight out the gate, is it true you're not queer? Because they knew she was gonna get flamed on the internet when the citizens of the internet found out and started flaming her. So they were like, is it true you're not queer? I'm telling you, the producers made her say that. And also I want to mention that the couples have been together for a very short amount of time, in my opinion. No, I mean, you didn't ask for it, but here we are. But they've been together for like a very short amount of time. The shortest time that a couple have been together is 1.5 years, and then the longest is only 4 years. So they're dishing out ultimatums and they barely know your middle name. In fact, one of the couples hasn't even met the family and they're dishing out an ultimatum. And as suspected, it's the one that's 1.5 years. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. So let's get into some couple introductions. So couple intros. First up, we have Yoli and Mal, who's been together for 3 years. And Yoli is the one who issued Mal the ultimatum. Mal never said she didn't want to get married. And first of all, I love Mal. I love Mal. Mal is so mature, so emotionally intelligent. And she better than me. I'll say that. They better than me. And Mal just wanted to be financially secure and independent before they proposed to Yoli, who I understand like the anxiety and like the looming dread, because she was like, I'm like coming up on 30, 40, like I don't have time to be waiting around for, finances. Like I want to start a family now. And so that's basically why they're on this show. Another thing that like is holding Mal back is because she's like, Yoli falls in love, and I quote, wherever she waters the grass. And so she's like, what's special about me? Like, why do you want to get married to me? Because you say all of your exes are the one, so what makes me different? Mal, she was on something with that one. The next couple is Lexi and Ray, who have also been together for 3 years. And Lexi issued Ray the ultimatum. Mind you, Lexi is 24. Ray's 27, but Lexi is like the youngest member of the cast, and she issued Ray the ultimatum. And basically, Ray has a lot of self-esteem issues, and she, like, the idea of commitment is scary to her because she's like, do I deserve love? Do I want love? Like, do I love you? Can I see myself being with you for the rest of my life? And there's going to be a recurring theme that a lot of these people just need intensive therapy, and Ray is one of them. Ray needs better help, not the ultimatum. So, not sponsored, but yeah, she needs betterhelp.com, not the ultimatum queer love. But here we are. She honestly didn't really have a personality until the later episodes, because she was very shy, because she didn't even want to be on this show, and Lexi kind of dragged her onto the show. But made for good content, I guess. The producers are swimming in cash right now. The next couple is Vanessa and Xander. Vanessa and Xander have been together for 4 years, and basically Vanessa gives me like loud, bubbly, energetic vibes, and Xander is kind of like the thing that grounds her, you know, nice, calm, like cooling, like energy almost. And basically Xander gave Vanessa the ultimatum, and Vanessa's like, I don't want stability, I don't want permanency, and the thought of marriage scares me. And I'm like, okay, why are you here? Like, you don't seem to think your mind will be changed at all. How did Xander convince you to come on the show? And then you later find out that she wanted to come onto the show not because she thought her name, like her mind was going to be changed, but because she wanted to explore new relationships and meet new people. But yeah, she literally said she can't imagine being with one person forever. And I don't know if she needs therapy or polyamory or maybe both. But all I know is that Xander deserves better. And I did think that Vanessa was a supervillain in the beginning, but she did kind of grow on me. That might be a little controversial, but Vanessa did grow on me in the end of the season. Next, we have Aussie and Sam, who is the couple that's only been together for 1.5 years. And this couple, I'm gonna just say right now, it's a no for me. See what I did there? But no, for real, like it's not giving. Sam gave Aussie the ultimatum. Sam is 31 and Aussie is 42, and Aussie is like, the idea of commitment scares me. I can't imagine being with one person forever, and I want to be with them for 5 years before like I settle down with them and whatnot. And I mean, I understand, like, it's only been 1.5 years, but the stuff Aussie is saying, it's not like a timing issue, it's the idea of marriage issue. It's a fundamental issue. So I don't really know. Aussie desperately needs therapy, like desperately. You do not need the ultimatum, you need better help. That is what you need. Aussie said the idea of marriage is shackling, yes. Aussie's word choice, not mine, but yeah, Aussie said the idea of marriage is shackling, so take that as you will. And last but not least, we have Mildred and Tiff, who have been together for 2 years. They met under a lesbian Latina hashtag. Clearly, I'm doing something wrong. One of you posted it. The other one went on their phone, went on Instagram, typed it up, and went under the hashtag looking for lesbian Latinas, and slid up and started texting them. Have you no shame? What is an IMVU chat room? Can we please be actual and then be factual? They give me very on and off toxic vibes. Like, they just, no wonder Tiff hasn't proposed, because Mildred issued the ultimatum on Tiff. They break up once a week. Tiff admitted that. She said that they break up once a week. And so no wonder Tiff is very apprehensive to, you know, marry Mildred. Can I get a little bit of stability before I go and put a ring on it and put all this time, energy, and money into something that ultimately isn't going to work out? So that's why they're here. But now that we have all the intros out of the way, let's get to the first episode, which starts with speed dating, because they have to pick the partner that they're going to live with for the next 3 weeks. Okay, I changed the setup a little bit. I hope that wasn't too drastic, but you know, better now than later. So we're starting with the speed dating, which they just go on a bunch of dates over the course of a week. And so I'm just gonna, you know, tell you the highlights basically. The girls are really selling this idea. The producer's making them sell it really hard. They're like, my ex this, my ex that, like your ex is across the pool. Your ex is across the pool and it's been 20 minutes. Take a breath. We get it. You're on the ultimatum. Basically Tiff and Mal try to like go on a date just because they're supposed to be dating everyone, you know, being open, but they're both, you know, mask presenting, so they're like laughing. They're like, yeah, we both know like this isn't gonna work. This isn't something that we're like traditionally into. Vanessa is a big ball of energy and Xander's jealous, who's shocked. You can hear her across the pool. I would be jealous too. That's why I would never come on this show, but nobody asked me. Tiff says that they can't get down with a girl who just flat up eats a raw, juicy effing steak. So Tiff's ex Yoli dies right there. And that's pretty much all that the dating was. Like, they dated and then we're gonna get down to this miraculous ladybug wannabe love trapezoid that we have here. So let me explain. We have Lexi, who is Ray's ex, that is interested in Mal, who is Yoli's ex, and Vanessa, who is Xander's ex. So Lexi is interested in Mal and Vanessa. Vanessa is interested in Lexi and Ray, who are each other's exes. Vanessa, who is Xander's ex, Xander is interested in Yoli. Yoli, who is Mal's ex, Mal is interested in Lexi. So Lexi is interested in Mal and Vanessa. Vanessa is interested in Ray and Lexi. Mal is interested in Lexi, and Yoli is interested in Xander. And then we have the other ones who they kind of just swap partners, Sam and Tiff, and Mildred and Aussie. So nothing really to say about that. There's nothing notable about them really. Like, you know, Sam and Aussie are very passive, but Mildred and Tiff are very, you know, fiery, very combative. So it makes sense that they were drawn to the people that are more, you know, passive and just calm. They meet up at night. They have a lot of group hangouts throughout the entire show that producers set up, but at the group hangout, Vanessa asked, you know, like a reasonable question. She's like, who's everyone's number one? Everybody hates this question, and Yoli goes as far to say, if you weren't at the table, I would say I'm interested in going on a date with everyone. And yikes on a bike, because that's embarrassing. I would also never come on this show because one thing about me, I like to take my L's in private. You guys are taking your L's on national television. I could never do it. You're better than me. You're better than me. Personally, me, I would never let that happen. But of course, Vanessa just has to make it worse for herself because she goes as far to say, why don't we just have a big poly orgy? And everyone's like, side eye, why are you here? And I can't defend Vanessa at this point. She starts to grow on me and become like a lot more bearable later in the season, but right now I can't defend her. I really just can't. She's awful. I'm sorry. And she just gets worse. So if you think this is nothing, just wait. So the villain, Vanessa, you know, she continues, and now we're on episode 2, and it starts with, you know, the most notable events. I'm just gonna talk about like the notable events. I have my notes right here also. Vanessa is on a date with Lexi, and Vanessa's talking about how she doesn't really see herself marrying anyone, and Lexi's like, oh well, like what about if Xander might find someone here that they would want to marry? And Vanessa's like, have you taken a good look at me? Let's be real, it's me. It's Xander. And Lexi's like, what do you mean? And Vanessa's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure Xander like would be asexual if it wasn't me for me. Like, they actually told me that. So they're not gonna fall in love with anybody here, and I don't want to get married, so it's a win-win situation. And yeah, I'm gonna just have fun. And Lexi's like, you're disgusting. She says in the confessional, like, Vanessa is like Voldemort. She's a fake person. I'm terrified that my ex is connecting with her. Like, I don't want anything to do with her. She's warning everybody. And it just really like escalated really fast. And that was the downfall of Vanessa. And I'm just sitting here like, Vanessa, what is wrong with you? Like, she's very full of herself at this point. And it's really unfair for Xander because it's like, you're like using the experience in a wrong way. And Lexi's very passionate about this. She's like, you're not doing this correctly. You're abusing the experience. You're not doing the process how it's supposed to be done. It's like, are you a brand ambassador for the ultimatum? Like, girl, take a breath. Like I said, the producers are really making them sell it. Like, don't get me wrong, I do think that I could see Vanessa being here for the wrong reasons, but also you kind of have to think Vanessa came in here as an ultimatum receiver. Yes, I'm defending her right now. I'm sorry. I'm defending her just a little bit because she came in here as an ultimatum receiver. So obviously she didn't want to get married. And so when you, an ultimatum giver, is talking to her and she's like, yeah, I don't really see myself getting married. If she would have stopped there, I wouldn't have said that she wasn't here for the right reasons. If she wasn't saying all, the orgy and the polyamory and the asexual stuff, then it wouldn't have been as bad, because of course she's not going to want marriage. It's day 2 and she was an ultimatum receiver, so you guys are probably just clashing in that idea, which is why you probably should go on a date with someone who actually is, has the same interests as you. But I kind of see both sides. If Vanessa would just stop talking, it honestly wouldn't be that bad. Lexi and Mal are starting to connect a lot, which I really like to see because they both seem like, mature and very level-headed. And I think that they can learn a lot from each other. And Lexi is even asked by Mal, like, have you ever dated a black person? And Lexi's like, no, but I'd be willing to learn because dating Ray, who was Chinese, it was very much a learning curve. And Mal, talks about the struggles with black hair and the discrimination that they face with that. And Lexi was like, I don't understand that, but I would ask as your partner, like, how can I best support you through those moments? So I thought that was really cute, and so I did Mal. So it's nice to see that they're connecting because Lexi and Vanessa isn't going anywhere. Everyone else is boring, pretty much. Sam and Tiff are talking, and Tiff is like, what makes you mad? And Sam's like, I'm pretty low maintenance, like, no, nothing really makes me mad. And this makes Tiff emotional because she's talking about how passive aggressive that their ex Mildred was, and how it's really hard for them to try and have an open dialogue and communicate when someone's just being really passive aggressive. You can't really, work with that. And so that really, frustrates Tiff, and they share that on the date with Sam. So nothing to write home about. Cute, I guess. Maybe I'm a hater, but like, cute. Aussie and Mildred have started to, go on more dates and start to bond. And Aussie's like, yeah, I think I want marriage. I think that's something that I'm definitely like willing to consider, and like, I'm willing to settle down with someone. And Mildred's jumping for joy. She's like, oh my gosh, like I flipped the script, like I've actually changed your mind. And it's like, girl, this is pure delusion. I don't know why Aussie said that Aussie's ready for marriage, because that doesn't make sense. It's day 2, and if that was the case, why don't you just leave with your partner then? You don't have to be here. Because I actually Googled it, and they can leave at any time. It's a little frowned upon, but you're 42, you're a grown person, you can do whatever you want. Like, if you're ready for marriage, then leave with your original girlfriend. But then we wouldn't have a show, we wouldn't have content. So here we are. Yoli and Xander are getting close, which Xander is saying how things went with their ex when the topic of kids was brought up. Xander says that Vanessa said, okay, if we were to, start a family, I would have my kids and you would have your kids, which is very, very weird, and run very far. Those are the days of people who act like their previous partners are their exes from years ago. They sure did have a lot of interactions with them on episode 2. I guess they were having a little bit of separation anxiety, but everybody went and talked to their exes just about. Mildred and Tiff, I told you, they give on and off, like, they give me very toxic vibes. But Mildred is like, I'm so disappointed that I'm connecting with other people, but I have never been able to connect with you. And then they're like in an alley or in the forest or something, I don't know, but it's nighttime, and Tiff is like, do you feel like we're connecting now? And then they start making out, and I'm like, this is exactly what I expected, but I'm still disappointed. This is not a Wattpad story. I need to sit down and actually have a conversation, because no, I don't feel like you guys are connecting now. Like, was the answer supposed to be yes? Like, they just make up and make out. Quite literally, that's what they do in this moment. And I'm like, this is a red flag. This is very much a red flag. And my suspicions were correct, because you'll see later on. Yoli was upset that Mal was connecting so well with Lexi, but Yoli and Lexi, kind of have in common that they don't like Vanessa, so there's that, I guess. And then Vanessa had the breakdown because Xander is connecting with Yoli, and Yoli, and I quote, is mean to her. You're a grown woman. I need you to stand up immediately. You are crying on national television about how your ex is connecting with someone who is mean to you. One thing I want to mention is that everyone like says something, but they're like, if that's okay with you. But it's like, you know, your partner is not going to be like, no, that's not okay. And most of the time it's not okay. Like they'll be like, I think I don't want to share that with you if that's okay. Like, no, I think I'm going to walk away now if that's okay with you. No, but like you can't sit there and be like, no, you're not going to. So you just have to be like, because they're like saying if that's okay with you, but you know it's not okay. That's why you're saying that. So it puts them in a really rough position. But Xander was basically like, that's really selfish of Vanessa, who was like, I'm gonna walk away now if that's okay with you. It's like, that's really selfish, because what are we here for? Like, I brought you onto this show so we can explore other things and see if we come back to each other, and now you're getting jealous. That's really selfish. And that's the end of episode 2. So episode 3 is basically, you know, just the choice and everyone choosing who their partner is going to be. This is when I realized that Vanessa is the villain, because she was telling Xander literally the entire night to F off, and it was making everybody uncomfortable. And even Mildred said, like, it's hurting us to see how you're hurting Xander, because Xander deserves better than that. Like, she was just doing too much. Like, she was stealing the limelight when Xander was talking, saying, oh, who is this ex from Bumble? I never heard of her. Like, you know, this is new, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, can you let Xander speak? Like, it was so awkward, because everyone was just sitting there watching Vanessa antagonize Xander. And it was really sad, honestly, because Xander deserves better than what Vanessa has been giving them. But also, I do want to mention that she has a thing with monologues. Like, when she was choosing at the first choice, she was all like, she gave Mal, Lexi, and Ray their own monologue speeches about how she feels about them. It's like, Ray already chose you, stick with that, because now you just got rejected by Mal and Lexi, and they were both like, yeah, it's not it for me. And boom, taking another L on national television. I need you to stop. Basically, the choices are Vanessa and Ray, Lexi and Mal, Yoli and Xander, Sam and Tiff, and Mildred and Aussie. And Tiff didn't really want to pick Sam, I don't know, because Tiff started breaking down, talking about how the only person that they want to choose is Mildred, and they're just so in love with Mildred they can't imagine, you know, picking anybody else. And Mildred starts crying, because she's like, you're only doing this now because you feel like it's too late, and you never said any of this before. And she was like done. She was like, I don't want to talk to you. There's no making up and making out. Like, she was just like very, very frustrated. So they move in together, and Tiff and Sam immediately get into an argument, because I feel like Tiff, she's very, very used to arguing with Mildred. So that was, you know, the first like response to moving in with a new person is, you know, to argue with them. So she starts arguing about the dog. Yes, this becomes a topic of discussion, like even brought up in the reunion. Like, that's how big it was. The dog's name is Shiloh, and Tiff is like very, very affectionate about Shiloh, but cares a lot about Shiloh. And they were like, so I'm gonna go pick up my dog tomorrow morning, and she's gonna sleep with us, right? And Sam's like, you know, I don't know if I'm really comfortable with that. Like, I have to see. Like, I'm not like opposed to the idea, but I just am not exactly sure how I feel about it. And Tiff's like, you don't like my dog? You know, I'll sleep on the couch. It's not even a thing. And like, she gets like very, very upset, because Sam is like I never said I was completely against it. I just said that I need, you know, to consider the idea, and I don't want to compromise my needs. And I'm like, babes, take a breath, calm down. Like, it's night 1 and the dog's not even here, and you're getting upset that Sam doesn't want to sleep with a dog that she's never met. She doesn't know the dog, doesn't know her. And she gave, you know, a real reason. She's like, yeah, I don't want my legs to be claustrophobic. Like, I just, you know, I'm not sure about it. And Tiff literally says, I will sleep on the couch, and that's exactly what they do. Meanwhile, with Xander and Yoli, Yoli's dog Margot got to sleep in the bed, and Xander and Yoli are very lovey-dovey, you know, giving massages, because Yoli has expressed that she doesn't feel kind of that spark, that romance with Mal, and she's not really comfortable letting Mal touch her, but for some reason she is with Xander. Next, episode 4 starts with Vanessa getting her nipples pierced. Yep, you heard that right. And she takes that as a date with Ray. They are on a date getting her nipples pierced, and they take like a selfie, and she's like, oh, we should send that to Lexi, see what she thinks. It's like, she says things that are so like just inappropriate, and she like doesn't know how to read a room and understand that that's a really like heavy, sensitive subject, so why would you bring that up? Like, come on now. Like, you really said, let's send it to Lexi, see what she thinks. Like, you know that it's so much drama with Lexi, and you're still gonna say something like that. Like, not gonna lie, throughout like these first few episodes, I didn't even think that Ray liked Vanessa, and a part of that is because Ray didn't really have a personality. Sorry, I said it. She like she would always be so like quiet, and it seemed like she was very uncomfortable because Vanessa is very, very flirtatious, and she would make so many like sexual comments about Ray, and Ray would just be like, like, no, let's go to bed, like, let's go to sleep, you know, turn off the lights and whatnot. And it just seemed like she was uncomfortable. But I guess not, because later that night, episode 4, they were very intimate. But they go to a beach date, and the only reason I'm mentioning this is because they went through the water with their jeans on, their jeans and pants. I was cringing so hard at how much sand particles probably clung to their pants and their feet and their legs, and just, it was so gross. But anyways, on the date, Vanessa was like, you know, the idea of monogamy is very stagnant to me. And Ray was even like, you know, me too. I'm not sure if she was just saying that to, you know, engage in the conversation, because she wasn't nearly as passionate from what the viewer saw as Vanessa was. But I'm telling you, I'm not sure if she needs therapy or polyamory, but Vanessa is really seeming like polyamory might be something that she should try instead of hurting these people and embarrassing everyone on national television. But as I said earlier, you know, they did get intimate that night, and Ray literally called up Lexi and told her what happened. Lexi went as far to say that Ray was bragging about it, which doesn't really seem like the type of person Ray is, but I can't say for certain because I wasn't there. But she calls her and she's like, tells her what happened, and Lexi and Mal were doing really good, you know, joking about getting engaged before that happened. And personally, me, I'm taking that to the grave. You cannot waterboard that information out of me. Like, you're not getting that out of me. But she tells her, and Lexi is stuck on it. She's like, okay, now I'm gonna have to figure out what life is without you. I'm gonna tell my grandpa, who loves you so much, that you did this to me and you broke my trust. And like, Mal's upset. She's like supportive of Lexi, but Mal's upset because they're like, now this is, you know, interfering with my experience with you, and I don't get to connect with you, and because you're focused on something else. And I definitely will mention that that is true. When your emotions are wrapped up in another situation or with someone else, it is near impossible to try to focus on the situation that you're in with someone else and, you know, be present. And I speak from experience that you should just either let that person go, or you should just deal with your emotions on the subject. And Lexi didn't neither. But Lexi also admitted that they were broken up, and later on we find out, she says it's not the what that happened, it's the who that happened, which that's pure delusion, but whatever. Yoli and Xander, maybe I'm a hater, but there's nothing really to write home about. All they were doing all day was being intimate, so what's new? Like, they did that all day. Like, that's pretty much all the episode was about. Like, in the bed, on the fridge, on the counter, like, they were just everywhere. All episode. That's all there is to say, really. And this is where things kind of like take a bad turn for Aussie and Mildred, because they meet with Aussie's friend Mo, and Mo is like, Aussie, like, you're really committed to the idea of marriage now. That doesn't even sound like you. What does marriage entail for you? And Aussie's like, marriage seems like you being stuck with one person forever. And they're like, what? Wow. And they're like, what? Like, that's what that seems like to me. And this upsets Mildred, because Mildred's like, you were just saying that you're ready for the idea of marriage on our 3rd date. How are you now saying that the idea of marriage seems like you're being stuck with one person forever? They end up fighting for the rest of the episode. First, they fight because Mildred's like, okay, I want you to help around the house. And Elsie's like, I've been going out with my friends, so I have had leftovers and I don't need to cook. And Mildred's like, okay, so you're just gonna leave me starving at home? And she's like, do better, like, make it right. And I was like, okay. So that's like the only reason it didn't become a fight, because Mildred's very like pushy, like she'll keep going until she gets a reaction out of you, is because Aussie was so passive and just like, okay, I understand, like, yeah, right, you're right. And then later in the episode they fight again, because Aussie is like, basically Mildred and Aussie are talking, you know, she's making small talk, and then she's like, when are you gonna need the bathroom? And they end up talking about when they're gonna need the bathroom to so Mildred can get out of the bathroom while Aussie has to use the bathroom. And Mildred's like, why can't we communicate like this all the time? And Aussie's like, we have been. And it basically goes into a back and forth until Aussie's like, I feel like you say stuff on camera to make me look bad. But then after they say that, Mildred's trying to like push it out of them, like, okay, what do you mean by that? Like, you can't just say that and then, you know, run off and, you know, you accuse me of something, which is true. Like, you can't just accuse somebody of something and then not say why. And you're saying it on camera, so if anything, it seems like you're saying stuff on camera to make Mildred look bad, but you don't want to defend it. And Aussie's like very, very avoidant. I'm telling you, Aussie has avoidant attachment style and does not like talking about anything. And so they're like, I don't want to talk about this right now. Like, can I just get ready? Like, blah, blah, blah. And this upsets Mildred. And this is where it kind of just goes all downhill because they're not compatible at all. Aussie is very avoidant, Mildred is very pushy, and those two will never make for a good couple. And because Aussie, you know, kept, you know, dodging the question and whatnot, Mildred kept getting more mad. And Aussie was like, I don't want to talk to you when you're like this. And she's been like, I've been nothing but respectful to you. You've been so disrespectful to me. But Aussie's right. Why would anybody want to talk to you when you're doing all this? Like, girl, calm down and breathe. Tiff and Sam still talking about this dog. Tiff says she feels like she's compromising, but Sam isn't really putting in that effort. And Sam's like, I'm not Mildred. Like, I'm not going to sacrifice my needs and my wants just to make you comfortable. And Tiff's like, I just feel like you don't care about my dog. Like, I don't want anybody to be around my 12-year-old dog who doesn't care because she deserves better. And I'm like, you can't even talk about your girl like this, but you talking about a dog like that? Okay. Just an observation. But then I go to dinner and they seem fine. They talk about the fight and Tiff, you know, is really communicating. They're like, was the way that I was communicating, yelling and crying really hurtful for you? And Sam's like, yeah, but they're able to move past it, so that's good for them. Mildred, Mal, Xander, Ray, Sam is one group, and then Lexi, Yoli, Aussie, Tiff, and Vanessa is the other group. That was really hard to remember, but basically they're on a group outing and those are the different groups that are all in one room. So, you know, they're talking, they're like, okay, we're like married life now, so let's talk. And they're just like, what's one thing about Yoli that annoys you, Xander? And Xander's like, I don't know, something with a dog, and it's irrelevant. And Mal is like, that's really interesting that you can't think of anything because I think of a lot of things, which, who's shocked? It's been 3 weeks versus your 3 years, so no wonder Xander can't think of anything that gets on their nerves about Yoli. They barely know each other. And then Mal tries to like sneak in about, you know, Vanessa and Ray, but obviously it's not her place to say anything, so they're kind of just left like talking about Vanessa. And Xander's like, I didn't come here to talk about Vanessa. I don't want to talk about my ex. It's not what I'm here for. And then they walk away, which better than me because I would have been talking so much stuff about my ex, man. But then again, like, Xander definitely defends Vanessa a lot, and that's very frustrating for everyone because we see the manipulation that happens and just how much Xander is like, I'm like, just to say it plainly, like, Vanessa got Xander whipped. And then the other meeting pretty much is just Lexi pressing Vanessa and Yoli, you know, backing her up. Like, Lexi's like, oh yeah, you effed my ex. And then Vanessa's laughing because she's like, no, I didn't, you know, her. And then because there was like a, you know, a little bit of translation that was lost about what that entails. And Lexi was very vulgar because she was trying to, you know, set it straight. Like, there was this, there was that. And she led my hand to her, you know. And it was just very vulgar scene. And then Vanessa's like, yeah, I don't see myself romantically attracted to her, sexually attracted to her, emotionally or whatever. And we're like, so you wasted everyone's time. Like, you wasted everyone's time. Good to know, good to know. But Lexi again is like, I'm confused on to why my ex trusted you enough to let you do that to her. And if it was anybody else here, I would have been okay with it, but you is what I have a problem with. Which, she's delusional because we all know that she's just jealous about the idea, which anybody would be. Don't come on the show, because what did you expect? And she said that they didn't make a promise to not do that, so it's also confusing. So now we're on episode 5, and it essentially starts with Yoli, who's back at the apartment with Xander after meeting with everyone, including Lexi and Vanessa. And she's like, okay, I don't want to tell you, but if you want me to tell you, I'll tell you. Like, I'm not gonna keep it from you, but like, I don't think I should tell you. It's not my place. But do you want to know? But like, I'll tell you, but like, I don't want to tell you. It's like, girl, you wanted to tell Xander, you wanted to, be able to drop that piece of information. That's your ego. You wanted to, be able to share that information and then feel better about yourself because you're not the slimy ex. But basically, she tells Xander what Vanessa and Ray did. And basically, through episode 5, they're being more lovey-dovey. They feel like they're not just a byproduct of the experiment. Like, it was intentional. It was meant to happen. They say, I love you. Xander fake proposes with a blue ring pop that matches Yoli's nails. And by episode 5, we're like gearing towards the end of the experience, not experiment, although this is very much a social experiment. But so Xander and Yoli's like, I really appreciate how effortless and easy this has been. And Xander's like, I love you, like I'm ready to choose you, but do whatever is best for you. And yeah, so that's when they have to break up, but not without saying I love you, not without being very, very intimate. Honestly, I have to admit they are cute, but I'm rooting for everybody black, and that includes Mal. So I cannot root for them knowing that that's gonna hurt Mal. So I'm rooting for Mal personally, but y'all leave your opinions down in the comments because I would love to hear them. Vanessa and Ray meet with Vanessa's dad, and we can definitely see where she got her idea of marriage from, because her dad's like, yeah, marriage is like a lifetime sentence. It should be like a 7-year lease where you see every 7 years, are we still trying to do this thing? And if not, y'all leave, and it's no hard feelings. And it's like, okay, I mean, he was straight up about it. Lexi physically cannot stop talking about Ray. Like, even after Mal's like, okay, can you please stop talking about them, Lexi's still talking about them, and it's really making Mal uncomfortable because they're like, this is soiling my experience. Like, I don't want to live out the last of our days like this, worried about what they're doing or what they did do. Like, you need to be present, you need to focus. And it was really nice to see Mal be so understanding and, just calming for Lexi. And she's still saying, like, it's not what happened, but who it happened with, which, okay, girl. They do meet with Mal's friend, Alicia, who was like, what is going on? Yoli's your person, like, and Mal's like, girl, this is not the Get Out movie, like, it's okay, because she was used to Yoli. She's like, Yoli's my homie, and then she just sees this white girl. So she's a little bit confused. But yeah, they also meet with Lexi's parents, and Lexi tells her parents that Ray was intimate with someone else, which is very, very awkward. And that's also where she says that Ray went out of her way to say that she wasn't going to do anything with anybody, and which is like, I understand, because that's like, why would you say that if you were gonna lie? But also, like, you're either gonna forgive her or you're not. You can't keep rubbing it in her face. Like, either let it go and let her go, or let it go and what was the other one? Let it go and let her go, or let it go and keep being with her. Like, you really don't got that many options. Either way, you need to let it go. Austin moves out, LOL. Because Austin and Mitch are like, pushy meets avoidant. It will never ever work. Sam and Tiff meet with Tiff's friends Natasha, and they're basically talking, and Natasha's like, if you and Mildred keep breaking up every week and it's really toxic, you need to break up. And also she asks, have you and Sam been intimate? And Tiff's like, no, not really. And you can tell Sam's kind of like, she's not opposed to the idea, whereas Tiff seems to be. She's more so waiting for Tiff to answer because she doesn't want to make her uncomfortable or like push the boundaries or whatever. And Natasha brings up a good point. She's like, you should explore that with Tiff because you never know. Like, just hold Sam's hand. Like, you never know. And Natasha like held Sam's hand and was like, it's not that hard. Like, just hold her hand. And Tiff, she was apprehensive, and like they cuddled on the last night, but you could tell it was really just more like a friendly vibe. And they brought out good sides in each other, and they did help each other learn a lot. But that's kind of all it was, like teaching each other and being friends. Next, we have episode 6, which was the switching of the couples back. And basically here they were just kind of recapping everything that happened. So I already did that for you, so it's really nothing notable. The only thing that was notable is that Vanessa gave an apology. She writes a lot and reads a lot, and she has to have her monologue moment. And so she had to read an apology, and Yoli was like, yeah, that's real performative. I hope you don't think that we're gonna take that BS apology. And she was like, okay. Okay. But yeah, I thought it was kind of performative too, like, because you know they're gonna drag you, right? Like, you know they're gonna drag you. But I feel like she does, you know, change and show that she has grown, which is what she said she would do. And I feel like she did really show everyone that in the later episodes. Lay and not Lay, that's probably a good ship name, but Rexy and I just said Rexy too. Lexi and Ray go on a date on the beach, which it's tired. Please go somewhere else, because everybody and their mom are going to the beach for a date. But basically they go on a beach date, and Lexi's like, I still feel betrayed. She's basically like, she's just being really honestly mean to Ray because she's demonizing her, and Ray's like, I can't keep beating myself up. And it's complicated because Lexi's like, I feel like you don't care, I feel like you don't regret it. And she's like, of course I regret it, but I can't beat myself up about it, because whether we leave here together or not, I'm going to have to deal with the decision that I made at the end of the day, and I have to be able to live with that. So I can't keep beating myself up just for us to possibly break up after this, and I just feel all this guilt and resentment, and now I'm depressed because of it. I have to figure out, do I love myself? Do I deserve love? And it's like, you deserve therapy. You need therapy. And I don't say that to be mean. Like, I really think that she, you know, needs to talk to a professional to deal with these self-image issues that she has, because it's not even just like that she's shy and timid. Like, she genuinely needs help, you know, understanding her worth, and she's not gonna find that in a relationship, and she's not gonna give that in a relationship if she can't even give that to herself. And she acknowledges that, which is, you know, part of the reason why she's so scared to be married. They meet with Lexi's parents, and she's being pressed by Lexi and Lexi's mom this time about the betrayal. And they mention again that Ray went out of her way to say that she wasn't going to do anything with Vanessa, which I do understand why Lexi was so upset about it, because like, why'd you mention that if you weren't being truthful, and if you were just gonna go behind my back, because they didn't agree to anything, they didn't put any boundaries, and it's like, you said that yourself for something that Lexi didn't ask for, so that's kind of on you, I have to admit it. Vanessa was giving very performative, because she did a complete 180. It was like, I want to be married, I want to marry you now. And Xander was very surprised by this. They were like, I'm very shocked by the fact that you want to be married now. And it seemed like to Vanessa, like, I want to be married now and you don't, which is something that you risked coming on this show, but you were so confident in yourself, thinking, oh yeah, Xander is basically asexual, why would they fall in love with anybody else? And that's karma for you. And Vanessa asked, does Xander love Yoli? And Xander, lying straight through her teeth, says, I don't know. When like at the reunion, if it was the Lachey's, they would have put Xander saying I don't know, and then put a clip of her saying I love you to Yoli, because that's messy. But yeah, they were like, I don't know. And you can really see that they don't feel safe to express that with Vanessa, because last time they felt safe to express their feelings for Yoli, Vanessa started crying and saying she's so mean to me and blah blah blah. And that kind of reminds me of the first season of the Ultimatum with Ray and Zay, because Zay was like, you don't open up to me, and Ray was like, when I do, you get mad. So that kind of reminds me of that dynamic. Vanessa goes on to say that she feels betrayed and she's being stabbed all over again, because she saw Xander and Yoli messaging each other with, you know, fire emojis and kissy eyes and all of these. I couldn't take her seriously when she was like, you sent her the fire emoji, and I was like, you're a grown woman, I need you to stand up. And speaking of stand up, she was like on a bench with Xander, and they were talking, and she was pouring her heart out, and she was like, I love you, say it back. And Xander was like, me too, but that is not the same thing as saying I love you too. So it's like, baby, you really need to stand up now. And Yoli and Mal are just kind of getting back into the groove of things, you know, getting back into like how it was dating. And Yoli is very, very clear that, yeah, I'm in love with someone else, which Mal saw it coming, because I would never go on this show, because Mal said from the jump, like, Yoli falls in love wherever she waters the grass, and so I'm scared that I'm not special, and you learned you're not special. And Mal was just very, very understanding. Mal is better than me, and Yoli took advantage of that, because Mal was like like you can do whatever you need to do, you can get your closure, you can talk, blah blah, and you'll learn that she really took advantage of that. Sam and Aussie were back and, you know, better than ever until Sam and Aussie are talking, and Sam's like, I'm really glad that you're staying here and not walking out, you know, when we have conversations. And she's like, I think that that's where, you know, Mildred was very frustrated, and Aussie's like, okay, I'm getting hot, like, you know, please don't bring that up, like, I'm just trying to enjoy my meal. And Sam was like, do you want me to turn the air on? Because Aussie's like, I'm literally getting hot, and you could see them like starting to like their face getting red, and Sam's like, okay, I needed to eat anyway, which is kind of sad because like Aussie's like, can we just take a break, like, and whatnot. And it's like kind of like almost paternal, like, in a way, not paternal, I don't think that's the right word, like a parent, basically
parental.
And it's like, can you like take a break? And she's like, okay, yeah, I need to see anyway. And it's like, once again, like Sam is putting Aussie's feelings first, while Aussie can't even have a mature conversation. And Aussie goes and cries in a closet, and Sam's like, I don't want this in a marriage, like, I'm not putting up with this, like, I learned how to stand up for myself being with Tiff, and I'm not gonna be taking this anymore. Tiff and Mildred, they hook up. Who's shocked. They end up meeting with Natasha, and they're Natasha's like, how often do you guys break up? And they're like, about once a week. Like, we've had about 50 breakups. They've been together for a year and 11 months, I believe. So I don't need to do the math to know that that's unhealthy. But they're Natasha's like, why don't you try couples therapy? And they're like, the couple therapist gave up on us. And they're laughing about it. Is the worst part. Like, it's funny, but not for y'all. We can laugh, the viewer can laugh, Natasha can even laugh, but y'all should be disgusted, disappointed. I would never admit that on national television. Mal is, you know, starting to show up for Yoli in the ways that Yoli wants her to, and Mal is like cooking for her, cleaning for her, and, you know, just all the stuff around the house that Yoli said she wanted and she expected in a lifetime partner. And Yoli is like, yeah, I appreciate it, but I see it more in a platonic, less so romantic way. We still got to get that romance back. And Mal's like, I'm not doing this for no roommate, because Yoli's like, I feel like this is something that I feel like a roommate would do. Like, it's like giving roommate vibes to me. It's like, I'm not doing that for a roommate. Mal ain't doing that for a roommate. And, you know, they end up being intimate, so, you know, hoping that would, you know, fix that gap that was happening. The group hangout that happens later that episode, Mal is like, Xander, do you choose Yoli the way that I choose Yoli? Because I choose her knowing all the imperfections, knowing the perfections, knowing my annoyances, knowing my grievances. And Xander, you know, very truthful, very true. Like, I can't possibly choose her that way because we don't have that history. And Mal's like, okay, would you choose her, you know, despite all of that? And Xander's like, it's not a decision day, I'm not making that choice right now, because it seems like a very uncomfortable conversation, because I'm pretty sure Vanessa was right there too. So they're like, I'm choosing myself right now, which is, you know, and Mal's like, that's fair, because that's a very uncomfortable position to be in. So even after they're intimate later that night, Yoli's like, the intimacy, the romance just isn't there for me anymore, it's dead, there's no spark. And Mal's like, do you want niggas to die for you? Like, you want us to fight for you? Like, in my opinion, Yoli wants to have it all. She wants to see who is willing to, you know, lay it all on the line for her and fight for her. And you're with two very, you know, calm, level-headed, passive people, so they're not going to try to push your boundaries. And also, I don't know, self-respect. Like, nobody's going to fight for you. Like, you have to make a decision. And I understand what it's like to be in Mal's position. It's very, very hurtful, because it's like you're trying to get this person to choose you over the other person, but also you want to leave because you're like, you deserve better than what they're giving you right now. Like, she wants someone to be her, heck yes, but like, she's that for her, but Yoli isn't giving that same energy back, and it's very hurtful. But you also know that if you leave, they're simply going to run flocking to the other person, and that's just going to hurt you even more. So Mal's better than me in this situation, and is very, very understanding. Aussie and Sam are supposedly good now, and Aussie meets up with their brother, who's the only person who knows that Aussie's gay and even has a girlfriend that they're contemplating marriage with. So there's that. Lexi and Ray were doing pretty good until the group hangout and Vanessa and Xander came in, and Vanessa, you know, gave everybody a hug as most people would. And just like Lexi hugged Vanessa, Ray hugged Vanessa because she hugged them first. And Lexi was like, well, like, why'd you hug her? Why'd you hold it on for so long? Like, why didn't you push her off? And Ray's like, what do you want from me? Like, she literally asked me, are you avoiding me? Because that's how standoffish I was with her. And I understand the anxiety with having that have happened before. Like, she was unloyal to you before. So I understand why you're like scared about her being around Vanessa, but you also can't nitpick everything. If you're going to be like that, then you have to deal with that on your own, because that's just not how relationships work, and you can't control her. Because she's like, I wanted you, why don't you just tell her, yeah, I'm avoiding you? Like, no one's going to go out of their way to say that. It's unnecessary, it's understood, it's rude. Like, Vanessa is not dumb. Like, she understands what's going on, so you don't need to go out of your way to be controlling of Ray, who's trying her best. That's just how I see the situation. Vanessa and Xander are pretty good, and Xander and Yoli were apparently texting. Again, not just what she was talking about earlier, but Vanessa takes this and runs to Mal with the information. Vanessa is a gossip. I'm sorry. She is messy. She will go and tell anybody everything. Like, she'll be like, she actually tells Mal, like, she thinks Mal and her are gonna have a cute little friendship where they can talk about their exes and what they're doing and whatnot, but Mal's not interested. But she texts her and she's like, just so you know, Xander and Yoli are sending heart eyes, asking for selfies and whatnot. And Mal's like, yeah, I already know that they were texting. And she's like, I did not know about the selfie. And here Yoli go, acting dumb, acting clueless. She's like, what? Was there a selfie? I don't remember that conversation going like that. I don't remember that being the case. It's like, this is like one of 3 times that she acts real clueless in this show, and it's like, girl, you know good and gosh darn well what you did and what you did not do. But Vanessa, she like wanted to have like a big reveal. Like, she wanted to start drama, start a pot, which it wouldn't really help her, because if Mal and Yoli broke up, Yoli would come for your girl. So you need to really get that together. But yeah, so Mal was basically like, Vanessa thinks she's stirring the pot, but she's really just aggravating. She's really just like a fruit fly to me. Like, that's how I see her. And I thought that was funny. But Xander ended up saying that they were very, very proud of Vanessa because Vanessa didn't bother them, didn't look over at them, wasn't acting jealous. It's like, and if she was, like, Vanessa would be in the right, not in the right, but not in the wrong for doing that, because the way that you and Yoli were acting was actually gross. Like, Yoli was so disrespectful to Mal, who was so understanding and nurturing, and it's like, is this a moment where you need me to trust you on this? And Mal even admits in the reunion, spoiler, you was playing in Mal's face, going and trying to get alone, pretending that you were talking to Mildred so you could talk to Xander and hold Xander's hand and do this and say I love you and say I know and hug them and all this. And it's like, you literally have your partner on the other end who is saying, okay, I'm going to trust you in this moment, even though this is very, very hard for me, as it would be for anyone. You're playing in their face, and it's very disrespectful. And I was very upset for Mal in that moment. It's like, Mal deserves a lot better than what Yoli is giving her right now. Mildred and Tiff, they're fighting at the fireplace because Tiff is like, I want to get married, but I feel like we need to work on our communication, because one thing about you, you don't let me speak. And Mildred's like, you never stop talking. Why would I let you speak? You never stop talking. And she's like, I'm also Latina, like, we are loud, like, I'm gonna be a Latina till I die.
I'll be the way I am until I fucking die. And if you don't like it, die first then, bitch.
And you can be like a word, but you can stop being an A-word, but I can't stop being Latina. And she's like, girl, respect has nothing to do with race. And it's like, she really tried to pull that race card. And I know somebody in my race tried to do that. I would be side-eyeing them, because don't bring us into it. Nah, that's all you. And yeah, but it's fine, because, you know, next time we saw them, they were making out. So what's new? So now we're on episode 8, and basically it starts with Tiff and Mildred having a date, and they're basically talking about, you know, what life with children is like. And Mildred's like, you know, I have a 16-year-old son, he has a disability, so it's going to be a little bit more commitment from you, and I'm going to need that extra commitment, extra care, because he is probably going to have to live with us after the age of 18. Just, you know, having this conversation, and then later Tiff ends up saying like, yeah, I'm really like considering the idea of marriage right now, like because they wanted to have a deep talk, like their last night together, and Tiff's like, I'm really considering like the idea of marriage right now. And Mildred's like, yeah, I'm really happy about this because I actually love you. My ex-wife, I didn't love her, I wasn't in love with her, I just felt safe with her, which kind of scares Tiff, because they're like, what, like, why, what makes me different? I'm really scared to marry someone. Why would you marry somebody if you don't love them? And what makes you think that you love me then? Because you can just as fast say that you didn't love me and you just felt safe with me. So I understand that, you know, fear, and we're just like, oh, I don't want you holding my past against me, blah blah blah, which I think that's pretty reasonable. Like, Ossie and Sam go out with the black friend Charmaine. Something about these black friends of y'all's always have reason, always the voice of reason. The black people in this show are the voice of reason. Mal, Alicia, Charmaine, y'all are the ghosts. Y'all are holding this show together, let me say that. Basically Sam's in her dark feminine energy era. Like, she's like, yeah, like I'm changed and I'm not taking the BS anymore. And Ossie's like, I don't, like, you haven't changed. And Sam's like, have I not changed, or you just are mad that I'm not going to take your stuff anymore? I'm not just going to accept whatever crumbs you give me. And Ossie's like, that's BS, that's BS, that's BS. And Charmaine's like calling Ossie out for saying that. First of all, it's got to be super awkward to fight in front of your friends, but none of the friends seem surprised by any of this, so I have a feeling that this has happened before. But Sam's like, you always are in your head, so you don't know what happens. When we fight, you're just bad energy, you're always leaving, like your energy just is just negative, it's really bad. And Ossie's like, no, that's not true. And Sam's like, you wouldn't know because you never know what's happening, like you always leaving, all blah blah blah. And then Ossie gets very, very upset, walks out of the restaurant and sits on the sidewalk and starts having a mental breakdown in the parking lot. And Charmaine comes to comfort Ossie, and Ossie's like rocking back and forth saying, I didn't effing do it, I didn't do it, it's not my fault, and like crying hysterically. And it's just so much trauma that is there and hasn't been unpacked with a therapist. Ossie desperately needs a therapist. It's really sad because like they were like struggling so bad. You can see it's a lot of trauma from childhood, because Ossie even admitted Ossie was blamed for a lot of things as a child, and so that's where a lot of that trauma is coming from. And Ossie doesn't take accountability for anything. They can't have difficult conversations, and it's very frustrating for other parties, but that's why you have to heal before you go and get into another relationship. And Sam's like, okay, like I'm glad that you're putting forth an effort, because like they made up from the fight from earlier, so I'm glad that you're putting forth an effort and coming back. And how are you going to make the change that you need so you can feel safe with me? And I was just like, why would you ask that me? Why would you ask me that? That's a dumb question. Why would you ask that question? Isn't the answer obvious? Shoot, if I beats me, because I don't know the answer to that question, so you let me know. Yeah, then they walk out again, and it's, who's shocked? I know I said a lot. Who's shocked? But this is, I guess, I mean, it's the last night, so you better get it together, because Ossie was like, okay, I can't keep doing this. I really, really, really love Sam, and I don't want to lose her, so I gotta stop walking out when we fight. And Ossie went back, and they made up, so get it, I guess. Sam, who I think deserves better. Sam is literally the sweetest. She is such just a pure soul, and she deserves the world. They all deserve the world, but she deserves something that Ossie cannot give her at this point in time. Vanessa and Xander meet up with Vanessa's dad, and he says, well, we're all thinking that Vanessa is just trying to get Xander back by whatever means necessary, and that's why she thinks that she wants marriage so bad, when in reality she probably doesn't want that, because she doesn't seem like the type of person who marriage is meant for. And that's okay, but I feel like she's just trying to force herself into that box because Xander's in love with someone else. And you know, she gets emotional because she doesn't feel that way, obviously, and who are we to tell her? But that's just how he feels, how we feel. And yeah, you know, on the last night together, they hook up and Vanessa's like, I didn't know how to love before you. And Xander's like, I'm not over this yet, which you a lie, but what's new? Now and Yoli meet up with Alicia, the other girl of reason, my black queen. And Yoli admits to Alicia, yeah, like I have fallen in love with someone else. And Alicia's like, what? Because Yoli is so casual about the fact that she's in love with Xander, which is why Alicia's like looking at Mal like, I'm confused. And Mal's like, shoot, me too at this point. And they're like, what is going on? And they're like, it comes out that Xander and Yoli talks about finances, and Yoli saw the bank accounts with that IVF money, and Mel was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. You saw she got money, and I don't, and that's why you fell in love so fast. Because not only do you fall in love wherever you water the grass, but you also want that IVF. So again, I was shocked. And Yoli, the way she got up and she was like, goodbye. I thought that was funny because she just said goodbye. Like, she said she was leaving, just like, no, goodbye. That might have been editing, but I thought that was funny. And they just like, can we end our night with peace? Boring. And they're like, I want to get some pizza, which Mal said is Yoli's sad girl meal, which I don't know what you sad for. If I was Mal, I'll be punching the walls, bro. But Mal is so like level-headed and just calm and understanding and a lot more supportive than I would be. But they end their night with peace, I guess, and Mal is told by Yoli that they've been showing up a lot more, and Yoli really appreciates that. So I guess we're gonna see what happens in episode 9, which is decision day. Ray and Lexi are good, like they're communicating. It's not a definite answer because Ray is still determining, you know, what she's gonna say, but you know, they're definitely doing better, so there's that. And now we're at episode 9, which is decision day, and basically it was a hour-long episode just to say who got engaged and who didn't. Everybody but Vanessa and Xander got engaged because Xander was trying to go for Yoli, who got engaged to Mal. But I just want to mention how inappropriate Yoli was interacting with Xander while she was engaged. She has a whole fiance. Like, forget the show, you have a fiance and you were holding hands and hugging and saying I love you. It's like, I get it, you need closure, but have some respect for your partner who is like being so comfortable and open with you about these things, hasn't set any boundaries. Like, you want Xander to be like, I fight for you, I want you, like, leave Mal, choose me, blah blah. This is not a Wattpad story, babes. If you wanted that, you should have gone where Mildred and Tiff were, babes. You need to be realistic with yourself and understand these people have self-respect. For Mal and Xander have done all this for you, first of all, I would never do that, but they have a lot of respect for you, probably more respect than they have for themselves, for them to be doing all this. And so they're not gonna fight for you. They also respect your boundaries, which you should be grateful of and appreciative of, because I don't feel like you appreciate the work that is going into all of that they've done for you. And that's like really ungrateful to me. And she's just really disrespectful to Mal. And I'm passionate about that because I root for everybody black, and Mal's black, and Mal deserves better. Time for the reunion. Everyone looks really good, and I see everybody went dark with their hair. Yoli, Vanessa, Mal, and Mildred all went dark with their hair, which I dig it. So basically, I'm gonna go couple by couple, person by person, and say the notable things that happened at the reunion. But this is by the reunion. Like, I'm saying all this information as it was presented in the reunion. So Ray and Lexi are still together. They both look absolutely gorgeous. They honestly are glowing. They look so happy. Like, they just look so happy, elated to, you know, be together, talk about their wedding, and just, you know, how everything's going. Lexi and Yoli, when they played back the clip, there was like, you don't F your friends. When Vanessa was trying to gaslight all of us and be like, yeah, I don't really like her romantically or sexually, but I still did it. And like, felt no remorse. Like, that was funny to me. Like, Yoli and Lex, like, their friendship is cute. It's cute. I like it. But I'm rooting for Lexi and Mal still. Sorry, I'm rooting for Lexi and Mal. Sorry, Yoli, your friendship is cute, but Lexi and Mal, Mexi, whatever. I will say that it's very sad that Ray blamed herself so much just because of how much pressure that Lexi put on her and how much she blamed her and guilt tripped her with the family and everything. It was honestly like really, really sad, because for someone who already has self-image issues, for you to blame them so much, they must feel awful about themselves. And you know that, like, you've been with this person for 2-3 years, like, you know how they feel about themselves, you know that what you're doing is probably not very good for their mental health or their self-esteem, but you're doing it anyway. So I didn't like that, and I really hope that Ray has forgiven herself and is able to move on from, you know, the mistake that she made. Because yes, it was wrong, but you have to forgive yourself before you expect anyone to forgive you. And when Lexi is talking to Vanessa, and Vanessa's like, I'm not in your life, so I hope you understand, like, I've tried my best to, like, you know, exit from that or whatever, and Lexi's like, yeah, you're not in my life, and that's all that matters. I was like, okay, it's even passive aggressive, like, we get it, you don't like her, it's the reunion, babes, you got the wing, you got the ring, you got the wedding, calm down. Xander and Vanessa, I see Xander pulling that no contact, protect your peace. Protect your peace. Honestly, I'm kind of confused as to why they're not together, because, like, I know why they shouldn't be together from what I've seen about how they interact, but I don't really know why they aren't together, because, to be honest, I put it in 1.5x speed when I was watching the episode 9, so I don't know why Xander said no, if Xander said no, when Xander said no. I just know that, like, they were breaking up, and I'm like, what happened? But I'm glad Xander realized it, whether they admit it or not, because one thing about Xander is Xander don't do slander, and Xander is not going to admit what Vanessa really does. Like, they'll say things here and there, but she's not really gonna come out just and say it. So I don't really know why they didn't end up being together, but all I know is I'm glad they didn't. And it's sad because Vanessa is surviving off the crumbs that Xander gives her, because she's like, you know, I'm looking to see how I can be in Xander's life. I'm glad we get to be friends. Like, I know that the answer to that question, which the question was like, are we gonna see y'all try again? I know the answer is no, so that makes me sad, but I'm willing to come like accept Xander however they show up in my life, basically. Mal and Yoli are, and I quote, happily broken up. All I gotta say is, won't he do it? Won't he do it? 2 weeks after they left the show, like, breaking up is wild. I don't even know why Yoli gave it a shot, knowing she did not want to be with Mal, because Mal deserves better. Mal was wasting her time with you. Well, L stands for lesson and loss, so I guess it wasn't a waste of time, but it was funny how they would say something and then the other person would be like, okay. Okay. Like, Yoli was like, it was 2 weeks, and Mal was like, okay. And Mal was like, it definitely wasn't. And Yoli was like, okay. Like, they're trying to keep it classy, but it's just so funny. And when Yoli had the nerve to be like, how do you feel like I was honest to you? Because I'm glad Mal never gave delusional. Mal gave supportive, and then after Mal saw them clips, Mal was like, oh nah, like, Mal never gave delusional, which I appreciate, because some of y'all like to be delusional when they play in your face. I'm included. But Mal was like, you were dishonest, disrespectful, and dirty. I didn't know the last part. But Yoli had the nerve to be like, how was I dishonest to you? You was playing in their face the entirety of the show. What are you talking about? Like, you were supposed to go and get closure, which my friend always says, closure is a myth. So Mal better than me for even letting you have that conversation, but you can't control people at the end of the day. You gotta let them do what they do. And it worked out because Mal found out. Mal and Yoli obviously weren't meant to be together. And yeah, but Yoli, I swear Yoli's the villain. Yoli really reminds me of somebody that I used to know. Like, just the way she says things, like, she acting dumb and clueless again. She's like, oh, I didn't realize we were holding hands for as long as we did. Like, Mal has such a good point. Like, it's not, like, that's a wild statement to say. Like, not, oh, I'm sorry, we were holding hands. First of all, no apology, but, like, not that I didn't even realize we were holding hands. I didn't even realize we were so close, so intimate. Like, I didn't realize how inappropriate that was. I didn't realize we were holding hands for that long. Like, I knew somebody who literally was just like that, who they will carefully pick their words to where it's like they don't understand how what they did was wrong. They just pick the least significant part, like how long. Oh, you were holding hands for 31 seconds instead of 29. Like, it's not how long, it's the fact that you were doing it while you were working out being with Mal, because well, actually that's not true, because I was gonna say that you wasn't talking to Mal while you was with Xander, but apparently halfway through the experiment with Xander, you was telling Mal, yeah, I want to be with you, don't worry about it with Xander, unprovoked. You was saying, yeah, I'm gonna be with you, I'm gonna choose you, like, it don't even matter, it ain't even a thing, don't worry, lying straight through your teeth. And Mal's better than me because I'm a D1 hater. I'm never going to admit that you two are cute together. They were cute together, but if I was Mal, I would not admit that. And yeah, it was really sad when Mal called Yoli like a dangerous stranger. And she's like, that's what you are to me now, even though like you're a cousin that I don't really like right now, but you're still family. That's very, very mature. I would never do that. You're going on the block list. I'll see you when I see you. Xander and Yoli is his own little section because Yoli was right. Vanessa could not wait to mention that Xander and Yoli tried it out in the wild. So intentional with what she says and what she does. Like, she was just itching to say that because I told y'all she loves to like try to have that little friendship and connection with Mal about, you know, the things that they do with each other. But like, why is Xander and Yoli playing like we're dumb? Like, we don't believe you. We were at Coachella, we were listening to Megan Thee Stallion. Like, location don't matter for y'all. The counter, the fridge, like, location does not matter. So don't act like we're dumb for asking the question, what happened at Coachella? And like the awkwardness, you could feel the energy in the room when they were like, oh, what happened at Coachella? And they were like, nothing happened. Like, it's so obvious that they were lying. Like, Yoli acting dumb again, first with the text, then with the, I didn't realize we were holding hands for that long, and now with the whole Hawaii trip. You think you wouldn't remember something like that? Like, they're talking about, oh yeah, I found out that Yoli and Xander went to Hawaii, and they also went to Hawaii, which is real ghetto, will trifle and abuse Xander. And she's like, was it Hawaii? Did we say we were going to Hawaii? What? And Xander was like, yeah. Like, Xander had to like be like, yeah, like we did plan a trip to Hawaii, like, and jog her memory. She's like, oh yeah, like, don't play dumb. Like, we know that she remembered. Really don't do that. Please don't do it. I might be a hater, but I'm glad they're not together because I'm rooting for Mal, and I hope Mal just finds peace. And honestly, like, real talk, like, I feel like Xander does not need to be in a relationship. Yoli and Xander were cute, and I do feel like, you know, they're a good fit for each other, but Xander needs therapy. Xander needs to heal after being with Vanessa. And yeah, Tiff and Mildred. The way Mildred inserted herself in the conversation with Tiff about the dog Shiloh, she's like, I just want to get like my timeline right, I want to get my dates correct. It was so funny because, like, girl, you have something to say, you could have just said it outright. Like, the host is gonna get to you. Because I'm looking around, I'm like, because, you know, we don't know that they're together or not until they come out right and say it. So the host is like, wait, pause, because, like, y'all just jumped ahead. Y'all sitting here arguing in front of us. We didn't even know you wasn't together. And Yoli was giving hostess the way she was asking the important questions because Mildred's like, I feel like I was used monetarily. And Till's like, I didn't even ask you for money. And she's like, you asked me to split the rent 3 ways. And she's like, oh, I didn't. And she's like, yes, you did. And then Yoli come out here like, okay, then have the conversation go. I'm curious, how did it come up if you didn't tell her to do it? You asked her, how'd the conversation go? And of course, you know, conveniently, Tiff can't remember it, but it was like a year ago or so, like months ago, so I'm not surprised. But it was honestly like really, really intense. Mildred got arrested. Me personally, that's another thing. I'm taking it to the grave. You cannot waterboard that information out of me. Like, you're not getting it out of me. You cannot electric shock that information out of me. You got arrested for throwing a puppy cage? A cage? At a human being? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And punching walls and throwing photo frames. Like, I am honestly, from the bottom of my heart, so glad they aren't together for the sake of both of them, and especially Mildred's son, because nobody deserves to be put in that situation, put in that environment. Domestic abuse is never okay. So I'm really glad they are not in that relationship anymore. I mean, honestly, the fact that she admitted it, people would have found out on the internet anyway. So I guess it's better that she admitted it then instead of later, because that would have been a whole scandal. But it was very, very intense because they were arguing. It was so awkward and like sad to just watch them argue back and forth, because it's like you are looking at people who used to, I wouldn't say they had love in their eyes when they saw each other, but who to some capacity used to love each other, and they're just sitting and degrading each other. And Mildred's like, can you like stop talking because you're making my ear hurt? And like the silence that fell over, a hush fell over the crowd when she said that, and you could just see how much it hurt Tiff to say that, and that was like what triggered her breakdown, because she's like, you're gaslighting me, like that stuff never happened. Because Mildred's like, you brought girls over to our home, you had explicit board games, and she's like, I have an imagination of my own. What do I need board games for? What board games? Like, that was the part that they were really like, what are you talking about? And it was so frustrating because like they were like, why are you lying on my name? Basically, me personally, I would never live with an ex. Let me just put that out there. Like, you living with an ex, paying rent, and they bringing girls to your home? Oh, I'm done. Like, girls are not, like, I could never do that. Like, y'all are better than me. But I love how, you know, Sam came to Tiff's rescue. I think that was really cute because, like, Tiff was really, really going through it. And Aussie pointed out, like, I do relate to Tiff's experience of being gaslit by Mildred, which I can see because Mildred will just keep going at you and at you and at you until you snap, and Tiff snapped and Aussie snapped. So I definitely understand where they're both coming from. And it was nice to see Sam, you know, comforting Tiff, to see that they still have that relationship, or at least that, you know, Sam is just nurturing as a person and very comforting in nature. The producer was British. She was like, you're gonna get the death of a cold. I don't know what that means, but I like it. I rock with. But yeah, then Tiff left because she was just, you know, that, you know, overwhelmed by everything. And that was really, you know, intense and sad to see. But I'm glad that, you know, Mildred said she was hopeful for the future, to see what the future brings, because that's really nice. Like, for someone who's gone through so much with, you know, she has abandonment issues, which is probably why she's so snappy and at everybody's throat. And, you know, especially what happened with Tiff, like another toxic relationship, it's really, you know, admirable to see. She's like, I love love. Like, eventually I will let that come to me, but I'm not going to rush it. So that was really cute. Aussie and Sam last, but certainly not least, and I'll tell you why in a second, because you know, I really like that Aussie was like, I'm working on my communication and improving that and whatnot. I think that was really, you know, nice, because it's about time. I do think you need therapy, but I'll take my small wins. And I'm with Lexi. Sam is better than me, because Sam was like, Lexi was like, I don't know how you could be with someone like Austin, like in a nice way, but she's like, I couldn't be with someone who needs so much space, because they're basically talking about how they compromised on Sam needs to give Austin more space, and Austin needs to not take so much time when they need space. And Sam's strong, Sam a trooper, Sam a soldier, and Lexi was saying that because Lexi was like, yeah, I couldn't do it, and Ray was like, yeah, we know. Being with someone avoidant is not for the weak. Let me tell y'all, I know more than most. Being with someone who's avoidant is like almost like, okay, it's not impossible, but it's very, very difficult, and it takes a very strong person. I'm so excited for the Australian wedding. And now let's really cut to the chase, because Netflix, I have a bone to pick with you. What was that cheap iMovie preset template cutscene at the end of the reunion? Let's talk about it, because we had a cinematic masterpiece for the cutie scene, and y'all gave us the iMovie template. Highly disappointed. But all that to say, a few sentences, a few words, that Ray and Lexi broke up, called off the wedding, and it's not gonna happen. We don't know why, but yeah. And that's why I said last but not least, because Aussie and Sam are still together. But yeah, that's the show. That was a mess. I loved every second of it. Y'all are keeping your lights on at Netflix, and I am eating up all of the reality TV shows, so I can't wait for the next one, because we're eating them up over here. So let me know if you guys like this style of content. I know it's kind of weird to come back like after everything with this video, but yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. And yeah, that's all I have for you today, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Love, Sanaa.